Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Maisy Mok. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Police arrest a man on suspicion of taking photos in the toilet of a girls' school. Experts sound the alarm following the death of a 20-month-old child who contracted COVID. And a tiny amount of aid trickles into the Gaza Strip as Hamas frees 2 Americans. A man has been arrested on suspicion of sneaking into a girls' school to take pictures in a toilet. Police seized dozens of girls' uniforms from the suspect's home. A 30-year-old clerk was arrested in a factory building unit in Sampo Kong last night. He was alleged to have entered a girls' secondary school in Wong Tai Sin district on Monday, peeped at a restroom and took photos. The man was said to be wearing a school uniform when he sneaked into a school, which is understood to be the Good Hope School. He escaped when a student spotted him hiding in a toilet cubicle. Police identified the clerk after checking security camera footage on campus and places near the school. Lau Ka-ho, Assistant District Commander for Wong Tai Sin, said investigators are going through the suspect's electronic gadgets in search of evidence. He said police have yet to recover the school uniform that the suspect wore on Monday. But officers searching his home seized 16 girls' uniforms from several schools and dozens of female underwear and makeup. Police said no school has alerted them of any suspected voyeurism case. Lau emphasized that voyeurism is a serious crime and offenders could be jailed for up to 5 years. The recent death of a 20-month-old child has renewed calls for children to have COVID and flu shots. This comes as health experts detected a rise in cases of a particular type of respiratory disease. Janice Yu reports.
There are fresh health fears after a 20-month-old boy who contracted COVID died after developing brain complications on Thursday. Taking to the airwaves this morning, pediatrician Lau Yulong warned that even healthy children face the risk of a sharp deterioration if they're infected by the COVID or flu viruses. Speaking on the same show, health expert Patrick Ip emphasized the importance of children being vaccinated against flu and COVID as soon as possible.
Up to the 15th of October, in Hong Kong, between those young children between 6 months old up to below 3 years old, we only have 30% of our children population had received the single dose, 1 dose of COVID vaccination, and only 20% having 2 doses of COVID vaccination. That means almost 80% of our young children do not have any proper COVID vaccination coverage in this winter.
The Center for Health Protection, meanwhile, has noticed an increase in Mycoplasma pneumonia cases since August. This respiratory disease has been on the rise on the mainland. The virus can potentially cause serious lung infection, but there is currently no vaccine. To avoid catching the disease, people are urged to maintain good personal hygiene and wash their hands regularly. Janice Yu, HKIBC.
Overseas, the Palestinian group Hamas has freed 2 hostages seized when its fighters broke into Israel 2 weeks ago. 2 American women were handed over to the International Red Cross.
Hamas has released a video showing 2 American women walking to freedom 2 weeks after they were seized in southern Israel. 17-year-old Natalie Rannon and her 59-year-old mother Judith were handed over to representatives of the International Red Cross at an unknown location. They and about 200 other people were captured when Hamas fighters dashed into Israel and killed 1,400 people.
I spoke with my daughter earlier today. She sounds very good. She looks very good. She was very happy, and she's waiting to come home. Her mother has a little scratch on her hand, but she told me it's nothing. Next week is Natalie's birthday on the 24th, and we're going to celebrate her birthday here in my home. but she told me they treat her nice and she was very good.
Israel has beefed up its military presence as it tries to secure the release of the remaining hostages in Gaza. The Israelis also stepped up airstrikes, taking the Palestinian death toll to 4,200, including hundreds of children.
Israel has bombed the oldest Christian church in Gaza City, killing more than a dozen people, including 4 children. This came as the first consignment of relief supplies finally began entering Gaza from Egypt. At least 16 people, 4 of them children, were killed when an Israeli missile struck a church sheltering hundreds of displaced Christians and Muslims in Gaza City. Many mosques were destroyed in earlier raids, along with hospitals and schools. A mass funeral was held for the victims of the church bombing. Further south, the Al-Sara neighborhood was turned into rubble, leaving thousands homeless. Where is the international community? This man asked as he surveyed the ruins. Amid the trail of death and destruction, over 2 million Palestinian civilians urgently need food and water after Israel cut off supplies to the besieged Gaza Strip. Some relief is on the way. Red Crescent trucks carrying emergency items have begun entering the Gaza Strip from Egypt, but aid groups said the delivery is a mere drop in the ocean.
We don't want to punish the Gaza people twice. First, because of the war, and second, because of the lack of humanitarian aid. But it is clear that humanitarian ceasefire would make things much easier and much safer for everybody.
Earlier this week, the United States vetoed a United Nations Security Council resolution for a humanitarian pause, saying the Brazilian proposal did not mention Israel's right to self-defense. While the world's attention is on Gaza, Israeli troops and settlers have escalated attacks on Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. The Dukharam Palestinians buried 13 people killed in clashes with soldiers. 5 minors were among those killed. Settlers attacked other Palestinian cities, killing more than 60 people in the past 2 weeks. There are fears that the conflict could spread to southern Lebanon. As a precaution, villagers living near the border with Israel have been evacuated to safety. The Lebanese group Hezbollah and Israel have been trading shell fire, killing at least 20 people in Lebanon. More than 15,000 people have taken part in a pro-Palestinian march in Sydney after Australian police lifted a ban at the last minute.
There's a lot of kids being killed who are completely innocent, who need aid, who need food, who need water, who need shelter. That's what we're here today to show. We're showing our voice from Australia that we do stand with these people who deserve humanitarian rights. What's happening is no good. Obviously the killing needs to stop. Children, for families, hospitals, it all needs to stop. Honestly, what Israel's doing is not acceptable.
Down, down Israel! Down, down Israel! Down, down USA! Down, down USA!
The protest in Sydney was the biggest in Australia today. Similar gatherings were held in other cities. The authorities had earlier banned pro-Palestine marches because anti-Jewish slogans were shouted at one protest. The rally in Sydney was peaceful, but police kept a close watch. Locally again, there was pandemonium at the Mongkok Flower Market this morning when a wild boar made an appearance. A florist was injured when he tried to confront the animal in his shop. Janice Yu reports.
A wild boar caused alarm this morning as it wandered into the Mongkok Flower Market. Pedestrians on Yun Ngai Street alerted police at around 9 a.m. when they saw the animal. A florist suffered leg and hand injuries when he tried to chase the boar after it entered his shop. The man was taken to hospital for treatment. Police, equipped with shields and batons, cordoned off part of the area as they tried to round up the creature. But the animal wasn't giving up easily and gave police a run for their money. An hour later, officers from the Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department arrived and anesthetized the boar. It was taken away and euthanized. It was not the first time that boars have lost their ways in the urban areas. Last month, one of them went on a rampage at a construction site on Stubbs Road, injuring 6 people. Janice Yu, HKIBC.
So far, 154 people have filed their candidacies to contest for directly elected seats in December's district council elections. Some parties, however, are finding it hard to secure enough nominations to qualify as candidates. With 9 more days to go before nominations for the district council elections end, the centrist Third Side Party said 2 members, Timothy Choi and Mary Pang, hope to run. But they will only get the party's full support if they secure enough nominations. Candidates are required to get 9 nominations from 3 district-level committees.
3會成員口頭上
Third Side Chairman Tik Chi-yun said some members of those committees have voiced verbal support for his party members, but there are not enough nominations yet to enter the race.
今日都依然未有一個委員肯復。
Chow Kai-lim, an incumbent Tuen Mun District Councillor from the Association for Democracy and People's Livelihood, said he has yet to receive a nod from any committee member. On the other hand, Lo Hiu-fong from the Pro-Beijing Business and Professional Alliance has received enough nominations. He went to Tai Po Home Market today to gain public support. His colleague lawmaker Priscilla Leung said members of the 3 committees will consider how much potential candidates have contributed to the community before endorsing them. On to the weather now. Dry with sunny intervals tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 21 and 26 degrees. That's our main news for Saturday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Maisy Mok. Good evening.